Hi friends, it's Mari. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. I've got some crafty inspiration for Studio Light and Ecstasy crafts. I'm going to be working in my A5 planner today. I'm going to create a mixed media background for my project and then create the rest of my project using some really fun products from Studio Light. So I'm starting off here with an A5 planner page. This is a page that I have die cut from some mixed media paper using this SL347 stencil die pack. So you can just see here the number that's on the packaging for this Planner Essentials die set. This is a really cool die set because not only does it cut out your page, but it also cuts out a bunch of other stuff, some of which I am going to use on my page today. This is my gold A5 planner from Studio Light. It's just a very well constructed, beautiful planner. This is a double page spread that I did last week in my planner, and this week I'm going to be doing a bunch of mixed media on my page. I'm going to start off with some gesso. You could use whatever gesso you have in your stash if you want to try this. I'm going to take my brayer and brayer my gesso onto my mixed media cardstock. This is just some Strathmore mixed media paper here. You can also use the paper that's in the planner itself. The paper that's in the planner is 300 GSM. It's really nice heavyweight paper. I had some of this already cut and ready to use up, so I just wanted to go ahead and do that. So I'm just spreading this gesso out onto my heavyweight cardstock, and I wanted to just prep my cardstock here with this gesso because I do want to do that mixed media that's going to involve some liquids. So this is just going to protect my paper from getting too destroyed, basically, from the water and the different inks and stuff I'm going to use here. So I'm just working on my Tim Holtz glass mat. I've spritzed down some Distress Oxide spray in the faded jeans, and I'm just going to water that down on my paper. I'm going to continue to pick that up off my mat with that cardstock. Just I'm going to pick it up and let that flow on the paper. Let it move around, and I will use my Ranger heat tool to dry this in between the different layers of color that I'm going to use. I'm also using some Peacock Feathers Distress Oxide spray as well, and you'll just see me here using a baby wipe to help kind of control the flow of where this is going on my paper. I just wanted a really pretty blend of some blues, and I'm also going to add some iced spruce on here as well because I do want this to look nice with the patterned paper from Studio Light that I'm going to be using and the different embellishments from the collection I'm going to use today, which I want to coordinate with these colors of Distress Oxide inks. I don't have the ice spruce spray in my stash, but I do have the ink pad. So I just put the ink pad down onto my glass mat. Now I've just activated that ink with some water and my paintbrush, and now I'm just going to again pick up that ink. I really like how this color coordinates nicely with the pattern paper that I'm going to be using today. You'll see that here in a bit, and just going ahead and picking up as much of that pigment as I can. You don't see this, but off camera, I do have an extra piece of mixed media paper. So if there's extra ink on my media mat, I do just go ahead and pick that up with that extra sheet of paper so that doesn't get wasted. This is a fan brush, and I'm just getting some water in my fan brush and just splattering it onto my inked up paper here. And now I'm picking up the excess water from that splattering, and you can just see that it leaves these really nice droplets. Some of this gets covered up. You will only see bits and pieces of this with the other things I'm adding, but that's fine. Now I wanted to just tone this down a tiny little bit, so I'm just going to add a little bit more gesso over top just to kind of lighten up the color so that it's not quite as vibrant. I just wanted it to be a little bit softer, and I love how this is going to look when I finish adding this on there. And then I will, of course, get that all cleaned up and ready for the next step. This is a stencil that I have in my stash. Studio Light has a ton of stencils, and I will link up to some of their stencils in the description box below as well. I don't have any yet. I think I am getting some possibly, so I'm hoping to be using some of their stencils in the future, but this is just some texture paste that I'm going to put in the two corners of my paper. This is a grunge stamp from Studio Light. I'm going to be using a couple of grunge stamps. I'm going to be using this one, 497, and I'm also going to be using 503. Now I put this onto a block, and I'm just going to stamp some black ink, black archival ink in a few different places here. I'm not really too worried about how, if this is really precision stamping at all, because it's just meant to add a little bit of detail to a few different areas. And I try to stamp it in 3 different areas on my project, kind of like in the upper corner where there's no texture paste, and in the lower corner and over to the side, just to kind of create a little bit more detail on this background in that way. So I'm just going to finish stamping that out. And now I'm taking some white splatters, and I'm just going to splatter this on. This is some Dina Wakley gloss spray in white. And I'm just going to get that on there in my splat box just to add a little bit more texture. I'm going to also use a fine little paintbrush to get some finer splatters as well. And this is just going to add a really nice bit of more texture onto my background here before I add the papers and the other embellishments that I'm going to be adding to this project. So you just see me adding more splatters here, and then I'll be finished with that gloss spray for now. I think I'm going to add a little bit more later. These are some dies. I absolutely love these. This is a die. These are little die cuts that I created from die 346 from Studio Light. That set actually has a bunch of different dies in it, but I'm going to be using these intricate dies from that set. I also cut the little pocket and embellishment from that stencil set. I think this is from 347, I believe. I will link up to all of the things though that I've used in the description box below so that you can find these if you want to purchase any of them. I'm using some sukuen double-sided adhesive on this little pocket piece that I die cut, and I'm going to take off that release paper off of that double-sided adhesive. This is a really, really strong adhesive, so it's going to stick to the mixed media that I have already added to my page for my planner here. And one of the things that you just have to remember when you're working with mixed media like this, if you're adding stuff on top of it, you have to use a really strong adhesive or the stuff won't stick. So this sukuen tape is super, super strong. I'm not worried about it staying on there. I'm just going to burnish it with my bone folder a little bit as well. And this piece that lays over top of it, which is part of that same die set, I'm just going to offset it a little bit, and I'm going to pop it up on some foam adhesive. Now this is a die cut again from another one of the dies. This is die set 350, I believe, and I cut it from some of this scrap paper. This is either scrap 12, I think actually that's scrap 4. The cut aparts are scrap 12 and 6, and I'm going to be using those a little bit later, but like I said earlier, I will link up to everything that I use in the description box below. So this is some little cut aparts from one of the cut apart sheets, is a fussy cut sheet, I should say. And I'm going to layer these little fussy cut pieces over top of the that little side pocket with the diamonds over top of it. And just going to layer those on top in that area. I have stuck that little wood grain pattern paper that I die cut inside of the pocket. You could put some journaling in there. You could totally use this as a planner page. This could also be a memory keeping page. You could add a photograph anywhere on this page for that matter. So there's a lot of different ways that you could use this in your planner. And here you can just see me trying to get an idea of the placement of where I want the different die cuts. They're not necessarily going to stay where I put them here initially. I'm just kind of moving things around and trying to get sort of an idea of where I want to place things. This is a really cool piece as well. This intricate die, again, like I said, that is from the die 346. And I decided that I wanted to kind of stick it in behind that diamond die cut piece there, and I will glue that down here in a little bit. So you'll just see me trying to get that placed in behind there, and then I will use a little bit of liquid adhesive on that a little bit later. I am going to pop these little bits up with some foam adhesive once I get them placed so that they are a little bit more dimensional on my project. I'm going to start sticking things down now. I'm going to glue that piece down with some liquid adhesive. And then, like I said, these fussy cut pieces here, I'm going to pop up on some foam. And I just like that, just simply because it does make it more of a 3D effect. And you can also see that I've placed a couple of pieces up in the top right corner there, another one of those die cut pieces from die 346 and a little mason jar piece. I'm going to add some little bits of foliage as well from the fussy cut paper in some of the different areas as well, just to add a little bit more interest and detail. And it just helps with the layering when you've got a few pieces to add. And again, just adding things in with the foam adhesive to create some more dimension. And some of these pieces are cut from white cardstock, and I just like that pop of white on that mixed media background. I think it just adds some contrast and looks really nice. This is a stamp from Grunge Stamp 503, and it says Free Spirit. I've stamped it out on some white cardstock that's cut in a circle shape that I just used a punch for that. And I'm going to heat emboss with some clear embossing powder over top of that. So I've added some clear embossing powder to it. Now I'm just taking my heat tool and melting that clear embossing powder. I also stitched around the edge of that circle with my sewing machine, and I'm going to just add that Free Spirit sentiment to my little planner page here. I'm going to pop that up on some foam adhesive again. And here I'm just showing you could add some journaling, you could add a photo there, lots of different things that you could add in that space to create a different type of planner page, whatever it is that you want to add it to. I'm just going to show you how this is going to fit nicely into my planner. Now I could pop this up or pop this into the planner opposite the paper with the trees on it and then create a page there, because that paper does coordinate nicely with this spread. Or I could put a different page entirely opposite this one. But I just wanted to show it to you inside of the planner just because I just think it looks so cool, and I just wanted to show you how that works in my A5 planner. Now I'm also showing you here, I've got another paper cut here with a different die, and I'm just showing you here I could create another mixed media spread opposite this one to kind of match up with it. So now I'm just going to make sure that all of my different little bits are glued down. That one little loose piece there that's in behind that diamond patterned piece is just going to get that glued down with my liquid adhesive and make sure that's secured in that spot. I am going to be leaving a coupon code in the description box below, so that if you have not shopped yet at Ecstasy Crafts using my coupon code, if it is your first time shopping there, you can use that coupon code on any regular price products, and it is always fun to get a discount. That's how I look at it anyways. So make sure you check that out. Check out all of the different items that I have listed in the description box below. I'm just finishing off my planner page here with some reinforcements, and that is part of the die set for one of the dies that I used today. Have an amazing day, everybody. Stay safe, stay well. I hope you enjoyed this. Make sure you hit that like button and that subscribe button, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.